Did you not see the performance they did against your team the week before? Were you not entertained, Mike? Did you not sit there and go, you were there live, first row, right there, watching how great the Raiders are? Right here. I can take this hat off now, Tony said, because the Raiders are great again. Or you said it, I don't know, one of you guys said it. If I could take this hat off and just sit here, well, I would better put it back on because this hair looks like shit. But look, Jack Jones coming in. The attitude is there. The defense is there. We don't got an offense, but everything else is there but the offense, and that will come in time. Getting back to it, and you guys know this, being in the AFC West, there's one team that's run the AFC West, and you cannot win the AFC West. You cannot improve your franchise until you can prove that you can beat the Chiefs. And none of us have been able to do it consistently. And it's just, and even it's one game. It's one game that the Raiders won in the last 3 years since 2020 or 2020, whatever. So I'm excited about it, and I can see it. But this is what we have to get. This is the goal. So right now, when you beat the Chiefs, guess what? Antonio Pierce, you just became the head coach because you did something that nobody else can do, but you got to continue to do it going forward.
That's what I was telling you and Tony in our chat is they should hire him if they pull off this win. Or maybe I think I might have just texted that to you, Joe. But AP scares me, honestly. He's making the Raiders have that attitude. Like everyone made the jokes about the Patriot way coming to Vegas and failing. But the Raider way is what I fear most as a fan of a team that's a rival to the Raiders. I mean, you think of like the old school 49er teams, some of these early 2000 Ravens teams, they just beat the shit out of you. And that's what the Raiders have famously done. Even if they aren't winning games, they still just beat the shit out of you. And I feel like Pierce instilling that culture is more frightening than any Devontae Adams move you can make.
So I think that it's Pierce's job unless they could get Jim Harbaugh. Like, unless you can get an actual legitimate coach who's going to come in there and set your organization on a winning direction, I think Antonio Pierce is the guy, right? Like, would Ben Johnson be able to come in there and do something? Like, he probably would be okay, but not what the Raiders need. And I think that the Raiders have had back-to-back coaches that they've given these contracts to, and Gruden and McDaniels, as they're guys like dictators, where it's like, I'm the smartest. I know exactly how everything is going to be and how it's going to go, and there's one way to do it. It's like Antonio Pierce comes in, and it's more about just like, hey, I'm going to bring attitude and fun and everything else. And you need that. But at the same time, you have to let the people that do year-round scouting, you have to let them do their job. And when you get those people and you get the drafted players in there, then that's when they get to come in and they get to play and be a part of the culture. Like, that's the scary thing for the teams in the AFC West is that Antonio Pierce would actually just get out of the way of the front office and let intelligent, well-researched people make the right decisions and stop picking based off of like, just, what's the sexiest play we could make right now. They don't need that. No. Who comes in and fits the identity of what we're trying to do? Because if I've seen anything in the last 2 weeks, you guys hit on Zamir White. Like, Josh Jacobs can go. You don't have to spend that money on a running back. I think he'd be fine next year. It's just another long list of running backs from that draft class that are way better than Isaiah Spiller. So, like, we just look around. Oh, yeah, check. Ding.
Drafted what, one pick before?
Oh, exactly. They traded in front to go get him. But, like, even Pacheco is in our division and crushing it. The Raiders would be foolish to go, oh, what we actually need to do is go make another big splashy hire. Like, to me, that would be something where it's like, if this were 1 or 2 games, sure. But it's not 1 or 2 games. It's like you have a core of people on this team that believe, and that's your starting block. Like, that's how you have to be able to like win in the NFL, and the Raiders have that.
Tony, and what is he in 7 games? He's has the second highest winning percentage as a Raider head coach in the last 35 years. That's how bad it is. You know who has number one? Rick Bisaccia. It's Rick Bisaccia, and then Antonio Pierce. And I think you hit it right on there, Tony. Like he's laid back. It's the new NFL. Players aren't the old Patriot way, all that stuff where you're getting yelled at. Like you and I, or whoever played football back in the day, you guys know that the old school coaches will get in your face, grab your face mask, yell at you. The players don't respond to that kind of stuff anymore. You don't see that. That's not this new way of coaching and stuff like that. You have to be gentle, kinder, and let the players do their thing, or else you're going to turn them off. But I think Antonio Pierce is doing a great job. And hey, he's not afraid to call players out. When they got rid of Marcus Peters, that was a huge step in the right direction. That was a huge step. And then to get Jack Jones for absolutely nothing, and the attitude that Jack Jones brings, and I don't know if you guys know this, but let me throw some stats at you. Malcolm Kuntz stepping up big since Antonio Pierce has become a head coach. And the duo right there with him, Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby, since week 18, 14 sacks, right? And 74 pressures. So they're going that. Since Antonio Pierce has become the Raider head coach, number one in points allowed per game, Tony. Number one in points allowed per game. 15 points right there. I mean, it helps when you play some of the bad teams. Defensive touchdowns. They got 4. 2. Yeah, that's number one. Sacks. The defensive line has been stepping up. 4th in sacks. They're 6th in takeaways. So the defense is there. The defense is there. They're not. I don't know, Tony. Maybe they're a couple pieces away. Maybe I'm just blowing it up. But I mean, a couple of these other games go their way. The Minnesota game goes their way. We're looking at a possible playoff team.
If you guys beat 3-0, that loss is the one that you guys will look back and go, oh wait, we should have been in the playoffs. Antonio Pierce should have coached this team and rallied this team to the playoffs after an abysmal start under a guy that clearly nobody wanted. Because like one of the things that none of the metrics will ever be able to study is the team invested in what is happening right there? And that is the biggest problem. When you lose a majority of people, it doesn't matter how talented they are. You cannot force them to play at what their peak performance level is because your heart has to be in it. You're playing such a violent game. And if the opportunity is, hey, I might have to spend my entire offseason rehabbing, like they're not interested in risking that level of injury on every single play, that harm, that bodily harm. And that will take you from what you could be to just being average NFL capable and talent. Everybody says like, oh, well, this tape, it's out. It's like the only thing they have to judge you on for further jobs. Sure. But your agent could also put together good tape, which is what got you into the NFL or what got you paid or whatever it is. It's not like this is the only thing they're going to see. You could just say like, oh, my guy was dealing with this injury and whatever else. Like you get new life in the building. That's what Antonio Pierce brings. He brings that sort of what Dan Campbell has brought to the Lions, where it's like, hey, this is about you guys. This is not about me. And I think that we have a problem where a lot of coaches are out there and it's like, it's about me. It's not about you. It's about these guys that go out there and are risking serious injury for the entertainment of bums like us that just sit around and love to watch this. Like, that's what this is about. It's about a game, and you have to be ready and fired up to go play this game, or you're just not going to be good. And he's been able to bring that back to the Raiders, and it sucks. Although Christmas Day, what a fucking treat that was. That was so much fun. I've never had that much fun watching a Raiders game in my life. Way to go.
And Antonio Pierce, as soon as he stepped in and did the press conference, I'm from Compton. I watched the team. I'm bringing back the Raider attitude. And even after the Chiefs win, they asked him about, hey, what's your resume? And he goes, hey, my resume is on the field. It's on the grass. I'll show you what I do out here. And maybe he doesn't check those boxes as normal head coaches. But if you got somebody that's checking the boxes with the players, that stands out more than anything else, right? And he said, we're the Raiders. We're going to smoke our shit, and we're going to talk our shit. And just to let you guys know, if the Raiders come back and win the AFC West, holy shit, I'm not going to stop talking shit. But, guys, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, because even when football season's over, maybe our teams didn't do what we needed in the football season, but we're all Dodger fans, so we're going to be winning another World Series this year.
Yeah, and we'll be here on the channel just like dreaming and hoping for every star player and coach that's available for our teams. It's going to be a fun time.
All time!
Me out to the ball game. All right, we'll see you guys.